Blessings, value life, and creation, and value life, value life. Anyways, my very first episodes of Youths.News, predictability, the patterns of predictability of law. And I'm going to follow through a series of two cases, and I'm trying to do probably two cases every month, or every 3 weeks, or 2 weeks. I'm trying not to decide. I'm trying to decide also. So with this first two cases is going to be Buc-Ee'S logo. Buc-Ee'S logo and formative marks, basically, where basically it's just two companies trying to decide if they have the right for their logos. And what is qualifies each company separately from basically using their logos. And I'm going to be following these through. It's going to be based off of intellectual property, logo, name, and formative marks. And one's an Ohio company, of course. I'm going to try to do companies in Ohio all the time. And basically, it's a formative marks, and it's going to be, the thought process is going to be, Buc-Ee'S may view this as more a simple logo case, where basically your logo is so simple that it should be qualified, but really, maybe they might say it should be more complex. Your logo shouldn't be so simple as basically aerial text on a word processor. Basically, they simply might say that it's just basically you're just going into a word processor and you're typing stuff up. You don't really have any logos or anything that distinguishes the ability for you to call that your own, or call that represented your brands. And then we got another thought process is formative marks. Basically, what is there's really nothing, and the Trademark Reversion Act of 1988 codified that the use of commerce must be in the ordinary course of a trademark, merely to reserve the rights in a trademark. So I'm going to follow these cases as time goes by, basically. So as time goes by, I'm going to be following these two cases and seeing how, if the probability of it, and showing the success of how it works. And the next case is a fire chief from Hamden Township, basically, that is getting telecommunications fraud and first-degree felony charges for money laundering, falsification, and offensive forgery. Incident occurred on January 9, 2023. And the prosecutor says basically Vandevander embezzled approximately $1.6 million through a series of transfers of checks. And basically he had to do telecommunications fraud to do that. And now check this out. The interesting thing is why this doesn't make it so predictable is he has a reputation of being a very honest person. He has never made a mistake up to this point, and he's so-called using this money to cover gambling expenses. And they had a couple of investigators work on this, and a lot of the investigators were interns, basically. So maybe there could be a mistake by the interns. You never know. Or you never know. That has to be checked properly, because that person has a history of working for that fire department for years, and literally not one mistake, but all of a sudden there's a gambling reason to embezzle money and do all kind of things where they're supposed to be using that money to pay for a new fire station. The average fire truck that goes out is costs 1.5 thousand, and the average fire truck cost is about 2 million. Yeah, let's see if I can remember that. Yeah, so I'm gonna walk through those as time goes by. So I'm just gonna call this. I don't even know what to call this yet, but I'm just doing my thought process. doing the predictability. And if I'm right, and if a mistake happens, they have no point of options, but basically seeing this and taking it over and getting my representation of my opinion. Or if this fire chief has no options available, if I check this once the case is over, then I might have the predictability of bailing coming back for him, basically as evidence law. We see what happens.